This is our day 9 on Selenium Java Cucumber CI course. Today we will see TestNG framework in a practical way, and we will check how you can run the XML file instead of running it from the Java classes. And we will try, is there any way that we will not open the Eclipse, and we should be able to run our test cases from command prompt. I'm going to our example. So let's do some practical today. So I'm closing everything. Okay. Let's say we have one test case which is related to going to the customer page. So this particular test case is related to going to the customer page and checking something. Okay. This test case may fail at particular time. So today we are learning two things. If you stuck somewhere, how to resolve it. Sometimes it happens that, let's say you will write a test case today, and after 1 month, the same test case is failing for some reason. How to resolve it, as well as meanwhile we will check how we write the test cases in TestNG framework. Okay. So let me quickly run this to check whether this is working or not. So I'm running this particular test case. This test case is nothing but like going to the customer page and checking that, okay, you are on customer page, something like that. This is particularly failing because we disturbed the flow in between. I clicked on something in between to admit someone. That's why it's failing, I know. So, but still check what is the error. It is saying that it is not able to find out a particular element. Okay, so let's run it again. Let me run this again. Closing this. So if you observe, let me go through this test case first. What we are doing here is opening the Chrome browser instance, opening test.teclip.in. Then this I'll explain later on that. You can set the size of your window also. If you want to set your window size to a particular dimension, horizontally and vertically, pixel wise, that is also possible. Generally we don't use it, but sometimes you want to test your website on a particular pixel, then you can do it in this way. Okay, I'm as of now commenting it. I'll explain about this later on. Or it's just a simple syntax. You can simply do it on your own by changing this pixel values, and you will get to know how it is working. So this is particularly clicking on the login text, then clicking on the login email, putting that email, then putting the password on that text box, then clicking on the login button. And then this particular thing is to click on the sales. There is one module called sales. So let me wait. Once we click on the login button, let's wait. Actually, let's wait for 5 seconds. Whenever you are putting a thread.sleep, it will say that whether you should put it in try catch block, or you should put a throws interrupt exception. That's fine. So, and this particular code I know is for, see here, it will click on the customer module. Fine. And after that, there is a code written to check something. And this code is not correct actually. So there is an assertion code written, if you see here, and it has put in its own way. So I'm commenting it as of now. We'll check it later on. So this particular code is very simple. If I say manually what it is test.techlib.in. We are clicking on the login button, then putting the correct valid user ID and password. Once you click on the login, after that, we want to click on this sailing, this module. So once I click on the sailing module, I want to click on this customer module, and I want to assert that here customer as a text should be present. That's it. That's a manual test case. The same thing we are doing here actually. So if you see here, the last step is clicking on the customer. Okay, let me do it. Let me run it. And if any error is there, we will resolve it. Very simple one. It's not a very complex one. See here, login. Okay. It will wait for 5 seconds. Okay. It has clicked on the ceiling. It will wait for 5. Okay. Customer. It didn't click on the customer. Ceiling is fine. It didn't click on the customer because once you click on the ceiling, it takes time to get to a particular page where you can click on the customer. So if I click on the back, when I click on the ceiling, it takes a little bit time, right? As of now, it is stored in the cache. That's why it is very fast. At like very first time, it will take time. So probably now it will work. Let's run it. Login done. Going to the ceiling part, wait for 5 seconds and click on customer. Done. It's working. Last part we will add the code to check whether this customer as a text present or not. We will add that code. It's not a big deal. I have already written it, but I'll explain. Okay, going back here. So this is my test case. Now let's understand how we do it properly in TestNG. So if you see here, let me properly format it. How you can do it? Control A, Control Shift F. So that will format. Another way is you can do a Control A, or you can select a particular code which you want to format. Okay, that is also in the source. If you go, there is an option format, which will format your code. It's like properly indentation properly it will put. Okay, so this particular test case is just to go to the customer and check whether that customer thing is present or not. So let me delete this. We'll put a proper assertion also. Now let's understand that opening this browser will be a requirement for each test case. Right? So let's see if there is another test case, right? Will be right again and again, like opening the browser, doing this thing, right? So it's better that we will put this in before class or before test, whatever you want to put. So here, if I say before class and I say public void set browser, you can give any name also. I am giving set browser as a function name. And if I'm doing a Control X, means deleted it from here, and we will put that code here. So what will happen this time is, as we saw yesterday, that this code will be executed first, and then this particular test case is getting executed. So before class is something like prerequisite, right? For every test case, you have a prerequisite. So actually it should be on before method. So we saw that there is a before method, after method annotation is there. So it can be on before method also, but let's understand that opening a browser is a one-time activity. We don't want to do it again and again for each test case. Opening a driver instance is one-time activity. So we'll do it inside before class. So it means that in this Java class, right, whatever number of test cases are there, right, execute all those test cases. But before that, execute this code once. Okay, so we have put it. Now once, I'm not going into this like how I selected the sales module. You can do it on your own way, right? I have done in a CSS selector way, but you can do on your own way by finding let me go back what I'm saying. So here is a sailing module, right? There may be different ways to select this particular element and click it. I'm not going into that how I got this element. Though I'll share this code and you can understand what we are doing, and then clicking on the customer. But after clicking on the customer, let's say we want to verify that this customer text is present or not. A very simple one. So what you can do, we can simply right click, inspect element. I'm using Firefox. So if you're using Internet Explorer or Edge or Chrome, everywhere the options will be like this only, like you can inspect any element. So this is saying me that, let me little bit maximize it. We want to see at the bottom. So, okay, let me, I don't want to see all these things. I just want to see this part. So customer, let's inspect it again. So customer part, okay. If you see here, this customer part is inside a div tag, class is ellipsis title text, customer, great. And we want to check whether this element is present or not, okay. So there is a div which has a particular class, and whether it contains a particular text we want to check. There are different ways, but we got this element, correct? We can check whether this element is present or not, first of all. So what you can do, right click and copy. So in Firefox also, it will give you option like CSS selector, CSS path, XPath and all. So let me get, for example, XPath and check what it is showing you. So for me, it's showing me, okay, it's a full XPath. We don't want to use it. Okay, let's try anything else. Right click, copy CSS selector. Okay, and this is also a big CSS selector. Let's not use it. And there was last option. I want to show you all the options. That's why I'm copying it. That's also a big one. So don't use it. So see, different browser shows you, you know, a bigger or a smaller CSS expression. Right? All the things are good, but it's better. Why not create your own? So if I right click here, copy outer HTML, go here, and this is a particular thing which you want to check. why not create a CSS selector out of this? So if I say div class star is equals to ellipsis or whatever is written here, okay, and another class value is title text, okay. So this is will be the CSS selector for this particular. How easy it was. What I did, div, okay, tag div, class is a big name which has a space in between. So what I did, okay, find a class star is equals to means find a class which has a substring ellipsis. Then for the same tag, find a class who has substring title text also. So there is an end. So we don't have to write and here in CSS selector. By default, if you are directly writing it, it's like end is there in between. So I'm copying this, and to verify it's correct or not, Control F. If I put it here and if the element it's saying no match, okay, there is a mistake. Okay, so if I just a minute. So if it should get highlighted, then it's fine. So it is not getting highlighted means this is not the right way to put it, right? This is not a correct CSS selector, it is saying. Okay, let me delete it. Okay, so this is search HTML. It is saying if we want to check a particular CSS is fine or not. So there are ways, like in Firefox, there are different ways. You can use some of the plugin present for different browser. So there is one thing called CrowPath. There is another thing is Selectors Hub. You can add those extension to your browser. So if I search CrowPath, I'm just writing CrowPath. In a Chrome, you can find it, but is it available for the Firefox? So here you can go to the Firefox options, add-ons, and in the add-ons, you can search particular things. So let's say if I am searching for CrowPath and hit enter, it will search if there is anything called CrowPath. CrowPath works best with the Chrome browser, so I'm not adding it here. I'll show you in Chrome. Okay, that will check later on because today we want to work on the TestNG part, right? So I'm not going into that to check those things, but I want to check a particular thing uh, related to checking whether customer is available or not. Okay, hold on. Clicking on the customer here, and I want to check this particular element, inspect, and inspecting it again. So this is the element. Okay, right click here and copy XPath. Let me see what this is suggesting. Maybe better. Okay, no, it's not suggesting in a proper way. It's like this is correct. There is no doubt that this is correct, but it's too long. Is there any short way to do it? So probably let's try what we have written for, yes, this one. So we'll check it here, Control F, Control V, and yeah, that's getting highlighted. That's correct. But this is 2 times present, it is saying. It's not just once. So if you see here, it is saying me that it is present 2 times. Okay, where it is present? First time here when it is not getting highlighted, for the sailing module. So somewhere in the same page, there is again a div tag where class is ellipsis and the value is this type, and another class value is title text, but it has ceiling as a text somewhere. I'm not going into that where it is written, but this is 2 times it is present. Okay, so second time is the customer, first time is the ceiling. Okay, so another way is you can check any particular tag based on its text also. That is also possible. Okay, so there is a contains function, so we'll learn about it. So you can simply search in Google like xpath for contains, right? It's a simple text which I want to show you. Okay, so in a Stack Exchange or Stack Overflow, if you go, right, you can check it properly. Okay, so you can write it like this, span text this. So this is one example. So if I want to write, so now I'm deleting everything. So if I want to write XPath for this particular element, what you can do is you can put div here, and which contains the text as customer. Okay, or if you want to check exact text, this will be the contains, means it may be a bigger text also. So customer name, if it is there, then also it will find this element. We want to find a particular element, right? So you can say, okay, in the same example, if you see that, is there any way to put exact text? So this is contains text will also work as of now, but there will be a way to get the exact text also. We are using it as of now, this. So so this is XPath, this is not CSS selector. So this will find out in anywhere, double slash means it is relative XPath. Find out a div which contains the text as customer. Great. So let's see whether it is correct or not. Put it here. Yes, it is getting highlighted and only one time it is present. So we'll use it in the code. So once the customer is clicked, let's wait for this 5 seconds again, let's say, and after that we want to check whether a particular element is visible or not. So we can write driver dot find element by dot xpath. Yes, and xpath expression is, we'll copy it, going here, putting it here. So this is my xpath expression. So this will give me one element, but what if this element itself is not present? That's possible that this element is not present, right? It will throw you an error. There is no element present like this. So one of the way, there may be multiple ways to get whether an element is present or not. One of the way is put it here, find elements. Okay, put it here, find elements, and put at the end dot size. So let's understand what it will do and get it. Let's say int x is equals to. So let's understand what this function will do is driver.find elements will find out all the element which is, which has the XPath this. Okay, this will give you a list of elements and we are checking the size. So this size should be not 0. So it's like if it is 0, that means there is no element with this XPath. It's like this. So in the assert code, what we can write is assert true. We can say x should be greater than 0. X is greater than 0. If there is no element like that, then this test case will get failed. So this is the way we write the test case. Proper test case is this now, that you're doing something and then at the end you are asserting the real thing. You're validating that, okay, once I am on a particular page, then this customer should be present. This element should be present. Then only I'll say I am on the customer page. So this code will help you in the way that you are finding all the elements, which is this, and you're finding then dot size. Dot size will give you how many elements with this XPath expression is present. If it is 1, it's fine. If it is 2 also, then also it's fine. So in this way, we are searching. If it is 0, then test case will get failed. Let me run it. So I'm running this test case and let's see what will happen. Yeah, it is clicking the ceiling. Wait for 5 seconds. It will click on customer now. Wait for 5 seconds. And then it will check that assertion part. And now it's saying that test case passed. This check customer test case is passed. Now I'm taking some of the question from the chat window. Hold on. Okay, so one of the question is related to, will we check the dynamic values from this table? Yeah, we will check. As of now, that is not the agenda. As of now, to understand that everything is possible. Let's now be very clear that through Selenium, anything which is present in the browser, you can automate and check it. That's why it is very famous, because we can do anything which is present in the browser. Now, you have to be a very good, you have to understand how you have to do it, right? And some way you have to apply your all Java knowledge also to understand about what is list, where to use the collections, where to use different kind of data structure. Okay, I'm going to the next test case, and let's understand that once the test case is executed, what we want to do after that, we want to close it. So we should write after class, sorry, I should write annotation at the rate after class. What do you want to do after the class? We want to close the browser. So you can write public void close browser, and inside that we should write driver dot close and driver dot quit. So this will actually close and quit that. This will close a current browser. This will vanish. This will, flush out the driver instance. Okay, so this is the way properly we write it. So if you want to write multiple test case, one of the way is, why not write one test case in one class? Right? But then if you have 500 test cases, it's difficult, to create 500 classes and manage it. So why not write second test case? Let's write second test case. So I have second test case with me related to item page. The same test case, but this time we will go to the item. We will go to item part. So what is that? If you see here, I'm going back here. If you see, there is an item module also. So if I want to click here, the item module will open. So the second test case is go to the item module and check whether this item is present or not. Okay, so let me copy this to do the same related to clicking on the item, and let me put it as a test case. So how to put next test case? Simple, at the rate test public void check item page. You can give any name actually. It should be like related to what you want to achieve. And here, after the login, the same thing. Let me write it. Thread.sleep for 5 seconds. And the same thing we want to do after sailing is clicked, and we want to click after item click. Okay, so once item is clicked, then also we want to perform something. And this particular thing, I don't know what it is. Let me copy it. I wrote it long back. I'm just checking that once I clicked on this line is not required. Let me delete this. So I will be clicking on the ceiling, and then I'll be clicking on the item, and then we will wait for it. And the same code will come. This particular code probably will come again. So let me repeat that code here, but this time it will be related to here item will come. Let's check. So if I want to inspect this, okay, and once we inspect it, the code is div class is equals to ellipsis, title text is equals to item. So it's same div which contains text as item. Perfect. So here it will be capital I M. Let's check whether this expression is correct or not. Always double sure that don't use it without checking it properly, right? So here is the expression correct. So if you see here, it's getting highlighted yellow and the item part also. That means it is unique in this page. It's saying 1 of 1. It's unique. Great. So this is our second test case to go to the item page and check whether that item has a title present or not properly. And let's see. So this time we are executing 2 test cases. And whenever there is more than 1 test case, you should prioritize it. Which one you want to run first, which one you want to run next. So let's assume that we will run this first. Priority is equals to 1, and this one is priority is equals to 2. So this test case will run after this test case. Let's run both the test case and let's observe what it is doing. Okay, login. Oh, this time it will fail because we did not log out. We should write a logout module actually, but it's fine. Let it fail. So customer, it has gone and it is failed. I know because what it is doing, you did not log out and you are directly trying again this and then login in again, right? So that is not required. Login is already done. And let me delete this part. Okay, no, everything will. So let's log out actually. So we'll write the module to do the logout right now. Quickly, if we can do it, we will do it. Otherwise, we will do it later on. So to log out to the system, there is a setting. We have to click on the setting and then to the logout. Okay, the first part is clicking on the setting. So if I inspect the setting part, if I inspect the setting part again, just a minute here. So if you see here, it has something. So I'm not making a very smart kind of CSS or anything. I'm just, let's say whatever it is giving as of now, we are using it, this XPath. So let's use it. So this is giving me the complete XPath. I don't want to use it. Why it is giving us a complete XPath? I want the relative XPath. Okay, if we say copy selector, that is also very big. No problem. Let's use this as of now. You can make your own better expression also. As of now, we want to just write a module to logout. So I'm writing here public void logout from ERP. You can write it here for the logout, because logout you have to call many times, right? So you can create a particular code to do just logout. Driver dot find element by xpath, and here is the expression dot click, because you want to click on that setting, and once you click on the setting, you want to click on logout. So let's inspect logout part. So logout is a partial link text logout. So if you see here anchor tag and there is a logout, so I can use partial link text. So here I will say, let's say thread dot sleep 2 seconds wait, and then do driver dot find element by dot partial link text, and the text is logout. So it's better to copy from here. So I'm copying it from here, and logout dot click. So that will log out from the system. Okay, and we will call this function where we will call. You can put it after assert also. So here I am calling the logout function, and in test case 2 also I'll call this logout function. Let's run it. I'm not sure whether it is correct or not, but let's run. This is how we resolve real-time problem, right? You may also face, okay, we forgot to put logout. Okay, no, it is, it's doing great. Yes, we logged out. Then again, log in it for the second test case. Yeah, it's working. It will click on the ceiling. This time it should click on the item. Yes, it's clicked, and it should go to logout. Wow, everything done. And it closed the browser also. If you observe that it has closed the browser also. This one is the older one. This is not the latest one. So everything done. So let's observe what we did. So we did a static WebDriver instance. Why we have written it at the class level? Because this driver instance we are going to use in different functions. So it's better to declare it here. In the before class, we opened the browser and driver is like now invoked. And now this is the test case 1 to do a particular thing, to going to the customer page and checking whether that customer is present or not as a text. Then second test case is again doing a login. So this is an atomic test case. This test case is completely independent, and this case is completely like independent. A fresh one to log in again, going to the item module and checking the item as a text is present or not. After both the test cases will get executed, we want to close it. Okay. So this is how you write test cases. Let's say that there is another test case. So as of now, I'm just, let me close it. So let's assume that there are more number of test cases in another class, right? So this is our check customer. Let's say there is another class. So that class name is, let's say, check some other module. So I can write here, let's say check invoice. Okay. Okay. So check customer and check invoice are two different. Let's assume as of now the code is same for the invoice also, but let's assume that this check customer has two test cases. Okay. And there is a check invoice class that also has like two test cases, and we want to execute all the test cases. The first thing what we should do is we should prioritize it. So first and second is here, third and fourth we can put it here for second class. So third one, and let's say this is my fourth test case. And now our agenda is how you can run it through XML file. So now see, we want to execute two different classes and all the test cases present in this, all the test cases present in this. So what we should do? So in that case, you can create XML file to run different classes. Okay. So for that, I suggest all of you to go through TestNG documentation. TestNG documentation. I'm copying this. This particular page is about documentation about the whole thing about TestNG. Let me put it here so that in the chat window also I am putting right now, and save it somewhere. I'm putting it to everyone, just a minute. Okay. And I'm putting it here also for your reference that we should run. We should actually, understand about different ways of writing TestNG XML. We'll see the simplest one first. Okay, so going here, there is a TestNG.xml. Here you will get a sample XML also. You can get a sample XML file. Okay, so if I copy this, it should work. So I'm copying this, the whole XML, this one, or this is also fine, but we will be doing a very simple one as of now. So here in your project, you can do a right click, new file, because we are not creating Java or any like extension, particular extension. We are doing an XML file. So you can give a name. Let's say this is my regression.xml. Finish. So this will create you one regression.xml file. And now how we can do it? You can give your suite name as, let's say, regression suite, and test case name you can put. So here I want to test, let's say, customer and invoice, or you can give any name, particular name. And we want to run two different classes. So what we can do is you have to put all your class detail here. What we want to execute is, if you go to the code, we have a package called Selenium Practice. We have a package called Selenium Practice. So the nomenclature is like this, that Selenium Practice dot class name will come, that we will put. And the class name is check customer test. Okay. So check customer test. And second test class is check invoice. Second class which we want to run is check invoice. So I'm copying the name. Done. And now you don't have to go to the class to run the test cases. You can run the XML file. So if I go here in a regression XML, right click, and you can say run as TestNG suite. So this time it's failing, I know, because of the syntax. I know that there is a syntax issue related to, or maybe the version mismatch of the TestNG. So I'm doing in another way. So I'm going to the code again, and I'm clicking on the check customer test, right click, going to here. So if you're getting this kind of problem, what you can do is, I'm showing you, right click here. There is a tab, there is an option will come, TestNG, sorry. There is an option, TestNG will come. You can say convert to TestNG. So your whole class will be compatible to XML, and it will create a sample XML for us. So if you see here, it is creating a sample XML for us. You can click on the next, and you can click on the finish. Done. So this has created a sample TestNG XML for us. Great. We don't have to do much. We don't have to do like much effort onto this. Okay, it was actually class. We were doing package. So that was our mistake. It was class name. My bad. So actually it is class. It was not package. So let me go here. Now this should work. So I'm deleting our regression.xml. I'm deleting it. Okay. And let's rename it as a regression.xml. It will be regression test.xml. You can give any name. Done. Now we will run this XML. Right click, run as TestNG suite. And let's observe. Yes, it's running. So it will run 4 test cases this time. First is related to that customer check class, then invoice class. So let it get executed, and we will go to the reporting to check what is happening. Let's wait. Yes, it will do proper logout, proper login again for item check this time. So it will go to the ceiling. This time it will click on the item. Yes, and it will be doing proper validation, doing a logout. Okay, it was very fast. Again, the third test case is getting executed. Don't worry about what it is doing as of now. We want to understand that there are multiple test cases and those are getting executed one by one. Okay, this was the third one. This is now the fourth one. Fourth test case is getting executed. Done. Okay, 4 test case run, all passed. Let's go to the reporting, how the execution is done. So here in the test output folder, you can see emailable report. So this is showing me that what was your test name, how many test cases passed, how many failed, what was your test class name. So here check invoice was the class, check customer test was the class name. These were the function name. These were the function or test case name actually. And there was no failures. This will show you a proper result. Fine. And going back to the code, and let me explain again this XML part. Okay. The first line is just an information about XML version and the encoding part. UTF-8 is the encoding char set thing. then this is just a comment. And if you see here, the real thing is here only. So you are saying your test suite name is, let me, you can change it. So it's not related to execution actually, it's just what will come in the report. So regression test suite, okay, test thread count is equals to 5. So if you are running in parallel, then this thread count is important. Otherwise you can delete this attribute. Okay, name is equals to test. So here you can say your test name is customer and invoice checks, right? Related to what you are running. It's like this. In the regression, let's say there is a group of classes which you want to run, and what you name you can give for that particular module, what you are checking. Then in the classes, you will say what was my class name. So my class name is, if you see here, it's saying, so you have to put the package name dot class name. So my package was this, class was this, package was this, second class was this. And it will execute all the test cases which is present under this class. And it will execute then all the test cases present in this class. Okay. So this will run and it will present the report. Now, there are a lot of permutation combination about what are the things you can do. Can you run the test cases in parallel? So best way, I'm again suggesting that there are proper documentation about if you want to run the in parallel, how you can do it. See here, parallelism and timeouts, parallel suites, parallel, let me make it a little bit bigger. So here in the documentation, there are small changes you have to do in the XML. So see, XML is ready. We have written this XML. Now there are something you can put as an attribute, parallel is equals to true, or there are multiple ways to do different things. Okay. So those things you can learn it one by one. Like if you want to group particular number of test cases, how you can do. So if I click here test group, it is telling you that if you have made group of test cases and if you run a particular group, how you can run it. So let's understand that TestNG is a big, itself is a kind of big framework, right? And if you will try to um, learn everything from here, it will take again 30 days to understand everything from here, right? But we will do whatever is required to understand, to create a framework. We cannot, um, do an example of each one of this, right? We'll do whatever is generally used, okay? But if you want to explore more, you are free to, and we should learn as a test engineer, as a learner. As of now, you should actually go to all this documentation to learn about it, and they have written in a very simple language. You will understand that what they are saying. Even if you don't understand, read it once, right? Because next time when you will run it, you will get it like very clarified in a very, you will have a better clarity about what they are saying, okay? But it's not a big deal to understand what they are saying, okay? Our next agenda quickly is like how you can run. Now this TestNG XML is created. So this TestNG.xml is created. Again, the problem is we cannot say it's automated. Why we cannot say it is automated? Because you are still opening the Eclipse and then right click here and running it. There should be a mechanism that this test case should be run from command prompt. Okay. So we don't have much time today and I want to cover it in detail. I'm not taking that part for today. We'll see this running this from the command prompt tomorrow. But the hint is this, that you have to compile the you have to set the class path actually, and then wherever your libraries are present, you have to tell what is the path of it, and then you have to provide this command, and then here you have to provide what is your XML name which you want to run. So this is a command which you can run from your CMD command prompt, and that will execute XML. We will see this tomorrow. Let me take some of the questions from chat window. Yeah, so somebody is asking, can we write login function in another function and we can run it? Yes, yes. So whenever you see any code which is repetitive, right, you can just, copy this, let's say this, 9 lines, 30 line to 39th line. This is related to login to ERP system. So why not copy this whole code, make it a login function, right? Same way we did for the logout, right? So you can make public void login to the ERP, and that 9 line will come, and then you call that function. That's perfectly fine. And second question is, what is meant by the parallel running of test cases? So that's running the test cases in parallel. So as of now, when you saw, when we ran this, the test cases were running in sequential way. One test case, then second test case, then third test case, then fourth test case. Let's say we want to save the time, and if your system allows it, what we can do is this test case, all the test cases which is present in this class can be run parallelly to all the test cases which is written here. So what I'm saying is multiple browser you can open. We can open multiple browser, and all browser will do some kind of testing. Okay, that's possible. But our ERP system is something different, because once it is opened for a particular module, and if you log out from that instance, the other will be affected. So what I'm saying is, if there are multiple browser open, this is browser one where you are doing something and you logged in. Now there is another test case which is running here. Now the thing is, if you log out from this, it will log out from the second tab also. That's why in our ERP system particularly, we cannot run the test cases in parallel. But I'll show you one example of the parallel execution. Okay. Next question is, instead of converting project to TestNG, how we can create new TestNG project? That is a really good question. So we actually wrote a Java class and we converted it to TestNG class, right? One way is this, that you create your own code, all this thing, you're using annotation and everything, and right click here and go to the TestNG, convert it to. Another way is, why not create the TestNG classes? So TestNG is not a project. Let's understand. You cannot create TestNG project. Okay, TestNG is just a jar which we are using. But at the framework level, if you want to say, you can simply right click here, go to the new others. In the others, you will get TestNG, and you can create TestNG class. We'll talk about this tomorrow. And thank you for asking this question, because if you want to write, this will give you a very systematic way of writing any test class. We'll see this tomorrow. And let me take more question. Instead, okay, can we write assert function result in the report? Can we write assert function results Yeah, it's a good question. So this particular result, which we saw, emailable report, right? That is generally not customizable. This report is getting automatically generated based on what you are running, what is your test case name, which one you ran first, which one you ran next. But sometimes we need customized report. So here, what is your result? Let's say here, if you want to put it into the result, there are other ways. We'll see that logging mechanism. We will see there you can log the result in a better way. But generally, like this is just assertion. So based on that, this test case will be passed or failed. Correct. So if you want a particular message, once it is failed and because of what reason it failed, so there is one report called extent report. There we will understand that you can put information about uh, steps what you execute. But in TestNG, no, it's not uh, customizable. But there are some ways where you can make your report better. We'll see that thing in TestNG also. Okay, can we use login and logout function as before and after method for each test case? Yes. So see, it depends on what you want to achieve. Right? In this particular case, we can do it, but maybe in your application, the real life, real project application behavior, we don't know. But this is what you have asked. You can do it, right? Because every test case, we are doing a login and logout. So why not create a function which will do just login? We'll call it, and the main part of the test case is just this. The main part of test case is clicking on the sales and then clicking on the customer and then checking whether customer is present. So this is the core part of your test case, core steps. So you can create login and logout. So that is how framework developed. That is how we are talking about frameworks. So in this way, the frameworks get developed. Okay, what are the common functions? Let's make it reusable somewhere. Consider a HRMS system, employee submits a leave. So somebody is asking, okay, leave request ID is something. So question is, there is a HR management system, and if employee submits a leave, there will be a leave ID generated, and we will put it in the report that, okay, this leave was created. Maybe we have to think if there is any alternate way to do this thing. We'll check it if it is done, or you can take it offline.